All right, so due to the extreme heat today, I've decided to do a walking tour for you as I pour the honey. So we'll kind of get a little idea of what the apiary is all about and find some interesting things to talk about on this little walk. So right now I'm walking back to the apiary, and we're going to first come up to this first oregano field. So this I originally planted because I found all of my honeybees in the garden on an oregano plant, like thousands of them. So I decided to start planting it, and I believe this is about 400 plants here. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I counted. But they all come from one plant. And that's why I love oregano. So there's the oregano. And those are all from one plant that I split. So I would just keep splitting and planting and splitting and planting. And this year, the elderberry bloomed. So every year it's been annihilated by deer, and the bees do enjoy it, but I planted it because sometimes during the dearth in July, they'll feed off of the, oh, look right here, look. I love when oh, there she is. They're all over it. Oh, isn't that fantastic? They weren't the other day when I was out here. So that's fantastic. So during the dearth, which is when there's really nothing going on in July, they feed off of the berries in some of the southern states. So I figured I would try it. I'm not sure that it's going to be as effective because we have a bit more still blooming. But yeah, so this is going to be in the honey as well. So that's elderberry. And then here's the apiary. Now I had a significant loss this past year due to a virus called sac brood, which is very, very common and very, very easy to deal with. It's the oldest virus known to bees, and they've been fighting it for thousands and thousands of years. So it's quite bizarre what happened, but I recorded it, and out of 31 hives, Ate, which I didn't realize means the queen of deceit and evil. We were just making up names that were Greek and Roman. There she is right there in the middle. Let me see if I can zoom in. Zoom in because I don't know how to use this thing. All right, at any rate, the big tall one in the middle is Ate. So the first two chambers below are brood chambers, and that is where she lays all of her eggs. And then there's a honey super that I have up on top. And then if you notice above that looks like another brood chamber. I got very frustrated, which we're going to talk about today, and decided to graft for queens just the other day on Thursday. So that is what's called a building nuke, or it's not a nuke, but it's part of the hive. And I made some advanced maneuvers, and I successfully had 5 queens take, and we'll see what happens with those, because obviously there's much more complexity to it than that. But that's what's brewing in there. And then on the top I put another honey super just in case they needed some room, because that hive I have been working at right now weekly so that it doesn't swarm, and making sure that that hive stays nice and healthy. And so now we're gonna walk back to, and I have apple trees and I have pear trees, and the bees love those. Those are the first things they get. And That's in the honey. There's more oregano over, you can't really see it through the high grass, but there's another group of oregano. Those I planted from a small, what's called a plug. That's Italian oregano. The oregano behind me is Greek oregano. And there's some pear trees to the right. And we've had to pull down a lot of ash this year. But the good news is I went and looked at all of the bases of the ash trees, and there's new ash trees growing. So we're gonna let those come back and hopefully make a, you know, they'll beat that green bug, that beetle, the ash borer on the second generation. Maybe they'll have learned something in their DNA like bees do. All right, so this is my lavender field. It's not done. It did very poorly last year with the drought. It is, lavender's drought proof, but not to the point where it can sustain a huge drought. So I'm going to be doing something a little different with this. Oh, I forgot to mention something. So let's turn around. So the first part of the sensory program is going to be what's called buzz meditation, and it's going to be a laying grounded meditation with my beehives. And you'll lay right to the side in front of those apple trees, and there'll be a amplified buzz from the inside of the beehive that you'll lie to for about 10 to 15 minutes to just get the frequency of the bee sound and just calm your mind. And then what you're going to do is you'll walk back here, and this lavender field is going to get transformed into what I'm going to call grounded contemplation path. And the objective will be, by the time you get through the path, whatever you're contemplating shall be resolved. But I'm building it right now. I was actually out here this morning, and it's a spiral. So the spiral will start right where I was, and it's gonna come all the way through. It will be planted. I can't plant it till next year because I have to get the grass to leave. So you'll walk the contemplation path, and there'll be plants on each side, and this will all grow in. This is all oregano, so the oregano is gonna grow into the grass. It's gonna be lovely. And then you're gonna go all the way to the center, around, and then you're gonna end up in the center facing the honey bee boudoir. And I named it a boudoir because a boudoir is a place where women used to go for privacy and just to get away from people. It was obviously a French term, but since a nest of bees, the hive of bees, is almost all female for a good section of the year, I thought it would be appropriate because it would be someplace that, you know, they're there, and it's someplace that someone else can go to. You don't have to be a woman to go into it, but then you'll walk to the honeybee boudoir. I love everything French too. I'm very much a French junkie. You just have great wine and food. And so this is the path where you'll finish your contemplation and hopefully have resolved what you need to resolve that's going on in your mind. And we're gonna go up into here, and I have 2 massage tables set up. I will be able to do massage in here. I have packages for that. And then this is where the bees are gonna be. So Jamie built me this, and it was quite interesting because neither of us had any idea what we wanted to do, how it was gonna come out, you know, where this was gonna go to, but it worked. So the black circles on the front are vents, and as the bees build the hive, all the good things inside, the pollen and the honey and the beeswax and everything that they bring in to build those are going to come out the vents and fill up the room. You can see, which you wouldn't be able to see if there are bees in here, and you notice there's no bees because we're going to talk about that today. That's their entrance and exit, and I'll show you that outside. These are a little different of a frame I'm working with. It's for a horizontal hive. It's called a Layens frame, and it holds more brood and honey around it. So it's a little more natural for them to be able to do that. Now, I'm gonna try to bring this down. So this was made in case somebody did wanna lie on top of it and feel the vibration of the bees. You could. It's secure, except I'm gonna warp it by having it up. Let me put it down. Good. On both sides. So there'll be a small rubber mat on the top of it, just in case. And then these are here for me to be able to feed them. So during the build, I'll spread those frames out just a little bit, and I'll put feeders in there, and they can build up that wax. And then, you know, your main benefits for a bee bed, and this goes pretty deep, is it normalizes blood pressure, it eliminates congestion and edema, cleans the lungs, relieves lung spasms, restores and speeds up metabolic processes, can help detoxify the body. The main thing I'm reading is that it does help slow the aging process, normalizes the nervous system, relieves stress, strengthens the immune system, and restores the body after any type of trauma. It can reduce the risk of cancer. You've all started to see things about how beekeepers have longer lives, and that's probably why, because you got your head hung over a beehive so much, so you're getting that all over, all the time, all over your body. And then the bees will come out these two little red holes. And so, oops, I have this on a gimbal and it's not, let's look at those. So I have, those are for hive beetles. So the hive beetles don't get into the hive in there, because hive beetles are really destructive. So that is the honeybee boudoir. So with that, at this point, I'm hoping that I am finished doing all the honey and we can get started. Thank you. And there's the farm from back here. It's very beautiful, very lovely.